Hello and good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We are live from Maniyusap here at Desawe Kanda, also live on TV Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. This is the Founders Day edition of Ghana Tonight. And coming up this evening, on this day, the Founders Day, we ask that critical question, whether the ideals and expectations of the founders of this country are being achieved and what can be done to get it right. Tonight, we have the man who has a passion for the development of this country joining us for a conversation on Founders Day. Also, the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, have been directed by the National Labour Commission to call off their strike. They say they will not do so. We have the president of CTAG joining us on Ghana Tonight. We'll hear from him. Also, Professor PLO Lumumba, celebrated Pan-Africanist, has a few words for the continent and also Ghana as we all talk about the Founders Day and take also a sneak preview of what's happening in Niger and this morning, as we heard earlier, in Senegal as well. We'll get you some updates on Ghana Tonight. And for you out there on Ghana Tonight today, want to say thank you for staying with us over the last 1 year. We'll celebrate 1 year of a lot of achievements on Ghana Tonight and a lot more to be done to help us get to where we want to be. On behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you. And to you, our guests as well. So it's going to be a special celebration of you, our viewers, and our guests on Ghana Tonight today. I am Alfred Ocansey. Welcome. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The police have commenced investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of a female adult, Ekuasewa Chei, on 3rd August 2023 at Achuma, Bebu, in the Ashanti region. According to the husband of the deceased, he returned home at about 5:30 p.m. on 3rd August 2023 and found the victim lying unconscious at the back of their house and rushed her to the hospital, but she was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. He further alleged that their living room and bedroom were ransacked and a television set stolen. An initial assessment of the incident seen by the police crime scene team revealed that no doors or windows in the house had been broken into. A police statement further stated that upon an inspection of deceased body at the hospital, no marks of violence or gunshot wound was found. The body has since been deposited at the morgue for preservation autopsy as investigation continues. The body of the deceased has been sent to the Bekwai Hospital morgue for autopsy. International Relations and Security expert Professor Vladimir Enchidanso says the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, will have to speed up its integration process and have a regional security understanding to be able to resolve the war in Niger and other potential wars in the sub-region. He adds that the repercussions could be dire if ECOWAS fails to solve the crisis in Niger.
ECOWAS needs to sit up and revise its notes. How many times have we not threatened and how many times have we succeeded? How many times have we not put sanctions and have we not threatened to do this, to do that? It is the people you hurt. And then when the people call your bluff, like Mali did call the bluff of ECOWAS, what has happened? It is an encouragement for any other person also to do whatever they would want to do. The point is, I strongly suspect that ECOWAS' mistake lies in the fact that we are not a unified entity yet like Europe. We don't have a standing army like Europe, like NATO. We had a nascent community security force in ECOMOG, but we dissolved it. If ECOMOG were still in operation, then we could easily mobilize. All they need to do is to supply the troops and equipment. So the best for ECOWAS, my advice would be to speed up the integration process and have a regional security kind of understanding. And now that we don't have that regional security understanding, each country wants to make sure that its security is assured by its military.
Tenants occupying a piece of land close to the Kotoka International Airport have threatened to take government on following the demolition of their structures. The 80-acre land houses are located at the police barracks and the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA. The demolition is to pave way for the commencement of construction work on the Aviation City projects.
Why?
We voted for the president, but we are disappointed.
We pay taxes. Nobody gave us notice to leave. We will demand compensation because the MC promised not to evict.
We have over 500 containers with their families, people trading here in and out. You understand? So if there is anything, they have to serve us a letter that will tell us that, oh, maybe we want you people to leave maybe in a month or two. Nobody has given us officially any letter.
They are saying that they should relocate us, not compensation in the form of money or anything. Nobody has given us any notice. So we went to our lawyer. As I'm talking now, the case is with our lawyer, who has written letters to the people who are concerned, Ghana Civil Aviation or Ghana Airport, the Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Staff, Jubilee House, the Speaker of Parliament, La Dadikotomo Municipal Assembly.
The celebration of Founders Day continues to stoke quite the controversy, even as Ghanaians across the length and breadth of the country mark the day. For every time it has come around, it resurrects debate over whether or not founders can be attributed in celebrating persons who fought for Ghana's independence.
4th August is clearly the most appropriate day to signify our recognition and appreciation of the collective efforts of our forebears towards the founding of a free, independent Ghana. We should continue to celebrate this day accordingly.
The Transport Ministry is working to introduce electric and gas-powered buses for public transport. A Deputy Minister for Transport, Al-Hassan Suleiman Atampuli, who made this known at a consultative meeting, noted that a mobility policy to guide electric vehicle deployment and scaling up is being developed. A team of 13 Ghanaians comprising 12 men and 1 woman have set out on an epic journey from Ghana to the UK, covering a staggering 10,000 kilometers. Their mission is clear: to drive from Accra to London while enjoying the experience. The journey started from Sunyai in the Brongahafu region on Sunday, July 23, after leaving Oyarifa in Accra the day before. The estimated arrival in London is slated for Sunday, August 6 or Monday, August 7, 2023, marking a historic accomplishment for the team. As of midday on Friday, August 4, the team had made a brief stop in the Spanish town of Monaco. The ultimate aim of this road trip is for the group known as Wanderlust Ghana to raise funds for digitalization in rural schools in Ghana and other African countries. As they continue on their remarkable journey, people from all walks of life eagerly await their safe arrival in London, where they will undoubtedly be celebrated for their incredible feat and indomitable spirit.
Welcome back. You're so live here on Ghana Tonight. Remember to make some time and visit 3news.com. Coming up, the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, is still ongoing with their strike despite the directive by the National Labour Commission for them to call off the strike and appear before it. Now, there are a number of reasons why CTAG is on strike, and despite this NLC directive, they've defied that directive as we speak. But let's go on to Zoom now, and the president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, Prince Obeng Himan, is joining us. Thank you so much for your time here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, the NLC has directed that CTAG, should call off your strike. Has this directive gotten to you as yet?
Alfred, thank you very much for the opportunity, and good evening to your cherished viewers. We want to put it on record that we had invitation from the National Labour Commission. That is the very day we declared the strike, that we should appear before the strike, the commission on Wednesday yesterday at 11 o'clock. And after due consultation and then assessment of our situation vis-a-vis the history and the literature surrounding it, we were so advised to, as it were, respond in writing or reply in writing, so that ethically will be up, because it's a respectable state institution and you don't receive a letter from them and you decide not to reply at all. So we responded in writing, but we did not appear before them. After that, we've not had any other letter inviting us to the commission. We've not also had any reaction from them officially as to the letter we sent to them.
I see. So why didn't you appear before them on Wednesday when they asked you to appear before them to talk about why you're on strike?
Letter inviting us, they sought to create an impression that there was a dispute between us and our employers. And we, in our candid opinion, felt there wasn't any dispute. If there is any dispute, it should be a dispute between the government and its assigns, as well, and then the National Labour Commission, because the commission issued directives, and directives are issued to be complied with. As we speak now, the directives or the orders issued by the commission have not been complied with by the government, and that is the bone of contention. And we don't see how we play in there. The commission, indeed, we agree, has powers, and in exercising their powers, we just want to believe that they can go to court, get orders to ensure enforceability of the orders that they issued. And in doing that, TITAC doesn't come in.
Well, now, the NLC is saying that you didn't appear before them in the first order they gave you. Now, they're giving a second order for you to appear before them, or directive for you to appear before them on August 9, which is this next week, Wednesday. Would you honor this invitation?
When we get the invitation, it's a matter we will look at with our team, labor and legal team, and then the advice they give us, will take it from there. I do not want to preempt what our advisors will say.
Do you call off the strike as well? Is this something you're going to do?
Now, the strike directive issued is still in force, and not until the point that the orders have been complied with, and so to speak, the monies have been paid and all the conditions that are met, we are unable to call off the strike.
Well, I see. And one of the reasons why you're on strike is what you describe as killer teaching hours. What exactly do you mean by that?
By the design of the academic calendar, all the students cannot be on campus at the same time because we are boardinized. The students have to be, at the boarding. And the facilities are also not enough to compensate their numbers. So what we do is at any point in time, we put them into two categories, so that the semester, if team A has to do 12 weeks, they divide it in 2. So you do 6 weeks, and then you go home for the other team to also come take your halls of residence, the facilities, and then they also do 6 weeks, after which you come back. Now, what happens is that the same crop of teachers, when one group goes down on Friday, Sunday, the other group comes. And the same crop of teachers have to be around. So it means that the teachers will have to work throughout the year without any form of rest. And that is injurious to our health. That is against the labor law. That is what we took the National Labour Commission as one of the issues. And the commission, having juxtaposed our situation with the law, agreed that we ought not to have been treated as such and we deserve compensation. And even going forward, they also agreed with us and said that after compensating us, we should be given 15 working days within which we have rest. And for how long are we going to go along this tangent? There should be a permanent solution to that. We have said that there is no law that says that all students in the tertiary institutions have to be boarding. Let us adopt the in-out-out-in system so that at any point in time, those who can be accommodated will be accommodated, and those who cannot have campus accommodation will rent accommodation outside and then commute from there to campus for lectures. So we can all start the semester at the same time, all the 4 cohorts, and end at the same time for the teachers who have their mandatory inter-semester break. That's what we're talking about.
Again, what would make you call off this strike that you're on, Ms. Obengima?
Being consistent from day one, from the time we issued the presser reminding the government and its assigns of their responsibilities towards us, that we would withdraw our services and wait till such a time that it pay as if they did not pay by the end of July. And here we are being consistent with what we said, and in our letter authorizing the strike, we said same. So inconsistent with those situations, we are just reiterating that not until they have complied with the orders, which include paying the allowances that the National Labour Commission themselves refereed through compulsory arbitration and all the things they talked about, we are unable to come back.
Okay. Prince Obengima, thank you very much. He is the president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG. They are on strike. The National Labour Commission says they should appear before them on August 9. They have resolved to continue the strike action. But today is Founders Day. With all of these things that's happening in this country, coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, we have a conversation on the relevance of today being a Founders Day and the holiday that we're all enjoying. And President Akufo-Addo is asking Ghanaians to uphold the vision of the forebears or the founders of this country. Now, we have a big one on whether or not this country and the leadership of this country is upholding the vision, the ideals and objectives of the forebears of this country. That is right after this quick break. President Akufo-Addo's speech will precede a conversation that I will be having with my guest joining me in studio. Stay with us. This is Ghana Tonight. We'll be back shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Who don't like chop money? They want chop money is here. Collect your chop money every morning at 10 a.m. by simply dialing *446# and select option 2 to play Day 539 chop money. Win 40 times your stake with Direct 2, 400 times your stake with Direct 3, and 20 times your stake with Direct 1. You can also pay your numbers to win big. You only pick your numbers from 1 to 39, so winning is easy. Dial *446# to play Day 539 chop money now. Dewa, Afa.
Banga we go.
After a beautiful unveiling of this year's 16 regional representatives of Ghana's Most Beautiful, the contestants are faced with their very first task of storytelling. They will embrace the age-old tradition of storytelling, where every word carries the potential to transport us to new realms of enchantment. In this quest for narrative brilliance, our contestants have not only prepared stories that tug at their heartstrings, but also stories that ignite the spark of inspiration. Join us from the studios of TV3 this Sunday at 8 p.m. Keep your contestants in the competition by dialing *713*13# or download the TV3 reality app to vote.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Common 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon-Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soup, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Nescofa Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Frutelli Calipo, Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubuna Womwankasa, Dragnet, Top Choco, Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
Undoubtedly, fellow Ghanaians, that day, 4th August, is clearly the most appropriate day to signify our recognition and appreciation of the collective efforts of our forebears towards the founding of a free, independent Ghana. We should continue to celebrate this day accordingly. Today, 76 years later, and 66 years after independence, our nation is considered a beacon of democracy and stability in Africa, where the rule of law, respect for individual liberties and human rights, and the principles of democratic accountability are part and parcel of our governance structure. These are the very things for which our forebears fought. The battle our generation must fight and win is that of rapid economic development. We must set Ghana to rights and get our country to where it should be. The challenge before us remains to build a modern economy and thereby generate a prosperous, progressive, and dignified life for the mass of our people.
Welcome back. You're still live here on Ghana Tonight, also live on TV Ghana on Facebook. And as we talk about the Founders' Day today, I mean, well, look, we have to move beyond the debate of whether it's with the apostrophe S or whatever. But where we find ourselves in this state as a country is the major focus of this conversation today. And whether where we are now fits into the vision and objectives of the founder or founders of this country. And one person who has been leading a movement to change the status quo and challenge what we are faced with now is Dr. Abu Sakara Foster. He's not new to the politics of this country, but he's an agronomist consultant, the founder of the National Interest Movement. Dr. Abu Sakara Foster, thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome, Alfred. Thank you very much.
So happy Founders Day to you. I think it's in order.
Thank you.
Now, when you sit back, I mean, and you've been associated with ideologies that also affiliated with the founder, one of the founders of this country. And when you sit back and watch the state of affairs now, does it fit into what you would say the founders expected?
Well, thank you very much, Alfred. I think one of the things that we need to be clear about is that on this day, we accept that we're talking about Founders' Day, but we are also talking about the founding president of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who laid that vision and that path for Ghana, who we could be, and who we wanted to become as the shining star of Africa, an Africa that stood shoulder to shoulder with the other peoples of the world, not shoulder to foot. And this meant that the freedom that we got with our independence, we were supposed to do something with it. Now, as a successor generation, the first thing we have to accept is that we have not lived up to expectations.
You haven't lived up to expectations?
At all.
How do you mean?
First of all, when you consider what was achieved in those early years. Today I had for the first time, since they reopened the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, an opportunity to walk through there, and I must congratulate those involved for having done a splendid job, both the architects and also, of course, we thank the president for giving it his attention. But one thing that stood out very clearly towards the end, what they call the achievements of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And I turned around and told the director that these are not the achievements.
You told the director of the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park that the achievements listed
these
there
are not the achievements of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. These are the foundation stones of Ghana. He laid the foundation stones for this country. So when you come towards that that presentation, don't see those as achievements, but see those as foundation stones. Because when you look at each one of them in the area of education, health, industry, culture, etc., you see that those are the institutions that we are left with today. Even Bank of Ghana, commercial bank. The other issue which I told him was that you missed out the most important part.
Which is?
He said, which part? I said, the enduring vision of who we are supposed to be as Africans. The Pan-African unity. The strive of the peoples of the diaspora. And fortunately, as I was coming out, I met a whole group of school children, plenty of them. And I was so happy because I used to go to that place and there were not many people there. But on this occasion, there were busloads of children. And one of them stopped me and said, oh, this is Dr. Abu Sakara. Children, come. Let's talk to Dr. Abu Sakara. And as I stood facing them, I wondered, what do I have to tell these children? And I asked them, do any of you know why this place is so important today? And one of them said, yes, it's Founders Day, and it is Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I said, very good. I said, when I was a child like you, we were told that being Ghanaian was the best thing in the world, and that you could be anybody you wanted to be. And out of that generation of people, we produced a UN Secretary General. We produced so many Ghanaians of excellence. Why? Because of that candle, that flame that was lit in their minds, that you are not limited because you were born here.
But is that candle still lit and bright?
That is what I'm saying. The successor generation have dimmed that flame. What we have now is a small glowing ember which we must rekindle by redefining our democracy, which has been the source of all our problems.
We're going to get to that. And Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah talked about the mindset, the Ghanaian mindset, revolutionizing the mindset of the Ghanaian. And you made some reference to that about that mindset that, look, you can be all what you want to be, you know, at the then generation. I want us to take a listen to him.
From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that, after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. We are going to demonstrate to the world, to the other nations, young as we are, that we are prepared to lay our own foundation. As I said in the assembly just a minute ago, I made it point that we are going to say that we create our own African personality and identity. It's the only way in which we can show the world that we are ready for our own battle. But today, may I call upon you all that at this great day, let us all remember that nothing in the world can be done unless it has the purported support of God.
So you see, it's quite clear that he had that vision, that mindset of, and also you talk about the foundation that he built. But the foundation, well, a few of them we can see there, but it's been largely destroyed, it is not?
Well, we ourselves are the architects of that destruction, because at the advent of independence, when the seeds for that vision of who we should become were sown, along with that were sown the seeds of weeds, the weeds of me, myself, what I want, my group. We don't agree. we won't have it. And gradually, out of that struggle, what we had was the 1966 coup, which was a termination of that vision. And gradually, the weeds of me, myself, my party, my family have grown.
And the greed.
To overcome the farm.
I see. But so you're saying that if we had built on that foundation, wouldn't be where we are. All the factories he built and so on, if they were thriving now, we wouldn't even be talking about another industrialization drive.
Of course. You see,
1D, 1F and those things.
Those things, factories, roads, hospitals, they are things. The thing that was broken in Ghana was the human spirit, the people, the will, the oneness of mind to strive towards a common vision and to pursue the common good instead of our parochial interests. That is the key. All the other things that you're mentioning, once you have that one, you can unlock the potential to all the other things. The potential can be there, but you cannot eat potential. Potential has to be manifested into reality. And the people to manifest that is human beings, because it's human beings that make the difference, not the things.
And so, and with the right leadership as well. And that's what
of course. You see, leadership,
we lack that.
Leadership is not one person. And this is one of the things that has held us back. We are sitting down at the crossroads of lack of progress, waiting for a bus called the visionary leader, instead of carrying on the journey with the vision that they gave us. How many times do you get an Abraham Lincoln? America has never had Abraham Lincoln again. How many times do you get a Winston Churchill? He's never come again. How many times do you have a Lee Kuan Yew? He's never come again. How many times do you get a Chairman Mao? He's never come again. If you wait for that time, you wait forever. But God gives each generation leadership. And he makes all of us are leaders, from our families to our communities to the ultimate.
On that point, you've been interacting with a lot of Ghanaians. Would you say that the Ghanaian, the ordinary Ghanaian, has the mindset of the generation that you made reference to, that mindset of sacrifice, of patriotism, you know, because they look at leaders and all they see is greed and selfishness and so on, and that influences the attitude of the people as well. Would you say that the ordinary Ghanaian has that?
Well, the truth of the matter is that when you cultivate a certain atmosphere, it becomes pervasive in the society, and it colors the minds of people growing up and future generations. So we have lost a lot of that. In our generation, tribe was not so important. But since 1966, tribe has become more and more important. If you're not belonging to this tribe, or you don't belong to this party, or you don't belong to this family, you are not included. That inclusiveness, you see, when you work for the common good, it means that you believe yourself that working to achieve the common good for all of us is the best beneficiary. I'll gain more from it than pursuing my own selfish interests. But that is a mindset that has to be cultivated from young ages upwards. But we broke that at the advent of the 1966 coup. And many people will say, yes, it was because of one-party state. And Tanzania had one-party state. They didn't break their trajectory.
So has our kind of democracy worked for us? Because you made reference to that.
Yeah.
You say that our kind of democracy has to change.
Yeah.
What has to change?
Well,
what's the problem with this our kind of democracy?
I just want to finish the point about Tanzania. They had a one-party state, but they worked through it until they came to multi-party democracy. What is now the stark difference between Tanzania and Ghana? Leave aside the GDP, the industries, etc. The human beings, the sense of nationhood, the sense of unity, and the sense of oneness among Tanzanians is far, far higher than amongst Ghanaians. two Tanzanians who have been to the same university, probably share the same dormitory, will probably never have spoken their tribal language to each other because they speak one national language, and that is their identity. And because of that, they have now been able to take advantage of that foundation which was laid for them to begin to accelerate the pace. They've had the benefit of accumulation. We keep changing course.
Indeed.
Yes.
And it is, in fact, I just want us to, there's that nexus between what you're saying and the democracy point that you made earlier.
Yes.
And so if this democracy is not helping us, you say, what should change about the kind of democracy we are practicing?
I think, first of all, let me make it clear. I didn't say that democracy is not helping us. I said this kind of democracy
I think the emphasis
is not
is on
helping us. So that means that we have to redefine this democracy for ourselves. If somebody gave you an adversarial democracy, let's call it a spotted dog, which actually grew up and became a hyena, and you have now realized it is a hyena, you don't need to continue keeping it in your house. Send it away and get a proper dog.
How do we do that?
You know?
How do we change this hyena kind of democracy?
First of all, I believe that you have to do it through legitimate means. We look all around us what is happening in West Africa now. And some people, out of frustration, are wishing the same for Ghana. I say, God forbid. Let us stick to the democracy, but let us begin to use the legislative instruments. Let us begin to work through the legislator. Young men and women like you, don't go to Parliament just because being carried on the back of a party. Go to Parliament as an independent person who is loved by your community, and you are going to represent them. You are not going to the Parliament to be whipped by your chief whip to say whatever the president wants you to say. If we had 5 people like that in Parliament who stood their ground, you can imagine what we would have achieved in this dispensation.
It's a very important point to make because I interact with a lot of my colleagues, young people across the continent, and you get that sense that the young people are giving up on hope in the kind of democracy that we see on the continent. And it's no surprise that we see a lot of these schools. In fact, this morning we're hearing of Senegal as well. There's some unrest in Senegal. They've been sitting on a shaky situation. And then you know of Niger, what's happening in Burkina Faso. I mean, Cote d'Ivoire, they've had their own fair share in the past, and so on. So what are some of the lessons we should be drawing, finally, from everything that's happening around us before we go?
I think, first of all, when a democracy becomes monetized, it automatically becomes non-inclusive. It also becomes very partisan, where the partisan interests subsume the national interest. And in that process, it looks mostly at short-term gain, and it doesn't address long-term gain, which inevitably means that you are making decisions not with the future in mind, but only for the immediate interest. And even that one, excluding a large sector of the people, even though you're supposed to represent them. Now, we need to say to ourselves, especially you, the younger generation, those of us in our 60s now, we have only 20% shares left in this company called Ghana. You guys have 50, 40% left. So if anybody is to remove their shirt and push the vehicle which is stuck in the road, it's you guys, not us.
Do you think that interacting with the kind of generation you're talking about, you see that sense of taking up that challenge of demanding accountability from leadership through peaceful protests and so on, which we saw in the past?
Well, I think I want to say 2 different things. The first is that I believe future leadership in this country is going to come from the private sector, the NGO sector, and probably even the faith-based organization sector. Why? Because our young people who have joined the political fray are all being cultivated in this same monetized democracy, and with only a few exceptions, who are very spectacular, you don't see that sense that you're talking about. I don't want to name names, but when you look at broadly, you can pick one or two people who you can say, oh yes, this man, he always speaks his mind, he strives for what, this man has stood his ground, even though his party doesn't agree with this, he's saying it. But they're the rare gems. They're the rare gems, they're not the norm. And we need a system that makes that the norm, which means that we have to go outside that partisan fray and begin to cultivate respectable, independent people who will stand. So on this Founders Day, if I have one message for Ghanaian communities, look within your community. Find respectable, self-made people who, when they go to Parliament, will stand their ground, not be whipped.
Not be whipped. Dr. Abu Sakara Foster, thank you so much. He is the leader of the National Interest Movement, affiliated to a number of political parties in the past, in fact, a political party in the past, and then also one that affiliates with the founding president of this country, Osaji for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And you're also live here on Ghana Tonight. And on the basis of this, Professor PLO Lumumba says something about the youth and democracy when I sat with him some time ago to talk about democracy on the continent, taking into mind what's happening in other countries. Take a look. You get the sense that young people are questioning the essence of democracy because it is not reflecting, I mean, the benefits of it are not reflecting in their lives. What should give? What has to change to possibly change this narrative that we have been experiencing over time?
I'd rather we use the word governance, because when we talk about democracy, particularly since the 1990s, what we appear to be talking about is periodic elections and the existence of multi-party politics. But I believe that if we use the word governance, then we are in a better space, because governance can then be understood to mean how people run their affairs, whether it's politically, economically, or otherwise. Democracy has too much of a Western connotation, and we then judge ourselves on the standards that have been imposed on us. But I want to believe in many African societies, we have our own systems of governance where people participate in making determination of issues which are relevant to them. What we have seen in the 1990s after the collapse of the Berlin Wall and the emergence of the West as the hegemons in the world and the adoption of multi-party politics in Africa.
But Professor Lumba, you see, here's what happens, and this is the kind of sentiments that the young people, not just the young people, but most people on the continent express, that the politician comes to you, makes promises, and based on those promises, you take a decision to either vote for A or B. They are using our own resources to fulfill the same promises that they made to us, based on which we voted for them. But what we get in return is failed promises, increased corruption, and a wanton dissipation of public resources. So that's where the challenge is.
But if you look at the thing that we call convincing, you convince a people who have convictions about critical issues. You convince a people who are clear about what they want in education, what they want in health, what they want in the economy. In other words, the level of the political maturity of the people is critical to good governance. But what we have seen in the recent past is that anybody who has money, particularly ill-gotten wealth, is capable of coming and bribing the electorate who have been impoverished, and then they are elected on that basis. Secondly, we have seen politicians appealing to the ethnic instincts of their people, particularly in these African countries which are multi-ethnic, and people vote on the basis of ethnicity. You've seen people being convinced on the basis of their religious affiliation. And that, I think, is the bane of Africa. So when I talk about elections in Africa, I don't think that they are issue-based. And your typical African politician knows, he or she has mastered the art, and he knows or she knows that these who constitute the electorate can be manipulated, can be bought. And that is why Africa continues to wallow in the muck and mire of sorrow and desperation.
So in your view, essentially what we've been doing is just conducting elections, which is just one of many things that characterize a democracy. After the elections, the leaders who are elected just forget to abide by the principles of democracy.
Of course, you get the leaders that you deserve. If you vote an individual because they have a lot of money, or you vote an individual because they come from your ethnic grouping, or you vote an individual because you worship together without interrogating what he or she stands for that will affect the quality of your life, then you are shortchanged. You get the short end of the stick. And this is happening in almost every African country after every election cycle.
Hey! What can you do with some cool $2,000? Okay. Here to Win game show is exactly what you need. It's the only game show where you are already rich before you begin to play. Every week, 2 lucky people stand the chance of winning money. All you have to do is go through some quizzes and fun games. Somebody from Peru is called Perusian. Whatever you say, you have to be proud because your family people are watching you. Somebody from Madagascar is called Malagasy. Correct!
Okay, let's go.
It's you that will tell me let's go. You are not even winning. Okay?
Hold the stand and just basking.
Amazing.
Just go.
Ayikwe Ama. Be proud. Okay. First of all, is Ayikwe supposed to be a man or a woman? Put it on your forehead. Ayikwe. Be a part of this game show right here on TV3 and take home some cash. Come join us on Here to Win game show where you win it all. Hey, yeah, mama. Hey, mama. Hey, yeah, mama. Hey, mama. Here to Win.
Here to Win, premiering on Saturday, 12 August at 8 p.m. on TV3.
When I say This Sunday on TV3, we bring you another episode of Ghana's Strongest. But this time, it is the semi-final. And for the first time, it is 5 different challenges. We go the extra mile this time to test these gentlemen remaining in the show, what they have to get into the final of the competition. Four men will have to get into the final, but 5 remain. 1 will be evicted. Who will it be? Join them this Sunday as we bring you Ghana's Strongest semi-final from Tema Metropolitan Assembly. Remember, time is 4 p.m. Ghana's Strongest, the power to do.
Catch Ghana's Strongest this Sunday at 4 p.m. only on TV3. Ghana's Strongest is powered by Gasem, the nation builder. Brought to you by Mixi Choco, Channel Hot,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Drugnet.
When I say This Sunday on TV3, we bring you another episode of Ghana's Strongest. But this time, it is the semi-final. And for the first time, it is 5 different challenges. We go the extra mile this time to test these gentlemen remaining in the show, what they have to get into the final of the competition. Four men will have to get into the final, but 5 remain. 1 will be evicted. Who will it be? Join them this Sunday as we bring you Ghana's Strongest semi-final from Tema Metropolitan Assembly. Remember, time is 4 p.m. Ghana's Strongest, the power to do.
Watch Ghana's Strongest this Sunday at 4 p.m. only on TV3. Ghana's Strongest is powered by Gasem, the nation builder. Brought to you by Mixi Choco, Channel Hot,
Deluxy acrylic paint,
Drugnet.
After a beautiful unveiling of this year's 16 regional representatives of Ghana's Most Beautiful, the contestants are faced with their very first task of storytelling. They will embrace the age-old tradition of storytelling, where every word carries the potential to transport us to new realms of enchantment. In this quest for narrative brilliance, our contestants have not only prepared stories that tug at their heartstrings, but also stories that ignite the spark of inspiration. Join us from the studios of TV3 this Sunday at 8 p.m. Keep your contestants in the competition by dialing *713*13# or download the TV3 reality app to vote.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Common 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soup, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Nescofa Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Frutelli Calipo, Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubuna Womwankasa, Dragnet, Top Choco, Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
Well, that's Professor P.L.O. Lumumba there, also sharing his thoughts about Africa and the continent and what we should be doing differently to get us to where we want to be as a people. And for you out there, as we reflect on the relevance of today, we also want to say thank you to you for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. That's coming up next as we celebrate 1 year of Ghana Tonight. And with you, our viewers, thank you so much for the support and for the feedback and for patronizing at least this platform. And we set out a very, very audacious objective of creating a current affairs program that will engage you, our viewers, and it would be merit your time and your attention at this time of the day at 10 p.m. And you've been with us and growing in numbers every step of the way. And if we say thank you to you, and a special thank you to our guests as well, who always stay up at night to contribute meaningfully to the conversation Monday to Friday on Ghana Tonight.
You know, every 10 o'clock I watch your program. You've overgrown, and you know I'm not flattering you, so you know that.
One day I was just flipping my channel and I saw and I said, who is this guy? And I listened to you and I said, okay, so I do try my best to watch 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think that's the only news I watch in Ghana.
And to the back-end staff as well, the cameramen, the directors, the sound engineers, and everyone who also has contributed to making Ghana Tonight the most watched television program at late night between 10 and 11 p.m. as per the research by Ipsos. And we will continue to grow together with you as well. And to the news team here for all the support, thank you very much. And so there was a little celebration, which kind of courtesy the management and the board of Media General we did to celebrate all the hard work of everyone who has made Ghana Tonight the #1.
What Ghana Tonight seeks to do is to give the viewer a total roundup of all the day's key activities, digging into the details and speaking to the people who matter around the top issues. In just a year, it's interesting and heartwarming to note that Ghana Tonight has risen to be the program with the highest viewership at that time throughout the country. And for this, we are grateful to our viewers and also take this as an opportunity to remind the business community that this is a program worth partnering, as it is sure to deliver results for its advertisers. The expectation is that the program will grow in leaps and bounds in terms of content, in terms of credibility, in terms of analysis, and in terms of viewership.
Most watched television program within that time belt. And we want to thank you. The future is indeed bright, and we will continue to take your feedback to grow and to also meet your expectations as our viewers. We appreciate you. Thank you. On behalf of the rest of the team, the producers, Atukwamina Hazel, Dennis Pwaberi Wedam, Lord Edward Sari, Jillian, Eric Ayite, and the entire team, thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. I am Alfred Ocansey. Join me tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for Key Point. Do have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.